What's going on, guys? I'm back with you with some NNDM because holy shit did this thing get extremely hurt. So, when I was making videos on this a while back, we were talking about this level being extremely important to hold as support. And we talked about how in the past, when we broke this level, we had massive runs. And when we fell down and broke this level to the downside, we had a big dip. And we bounced off the 661 and we started having this crazy rally. And it almost seems like it was going to be a bump and run reversal. But unfortunately, it was not able to hold this area. And by the time it got its head bumped up against this resistance line, we ended up rejecting. And we rejected very hard. We lost a lot of support. So looking at the area that we are in right now, it's pretty important. It's another very important level. And this level really goes all the way down to $6 even. But if we look in the past here, when we fell from this level, this upper resistance, which is right around 810, and we fell, pretty much caught support, a little bit of resistance underneath, and then we broke back above the 662, and that was when we started to run. Now, this was an idea I had a little while back, and it completely fell from my view, and it's not the prettiest looking thing, but I believe I discussed it with a buddy of mine that this could be a left shoulder, this could be a head, and this could be a right shoulder we were building here. Now, in my eyes, when we broke this level, I was thinking, hey, this can't be a head and shoulders pattern because we broke this level and the shoulder is higher on the right here. So, it's very possible that this wasn't a head and shoulders pattern that caused this dump, and it was just the markets in general pushing us down. And you can see this lower support here that I have, it's kind of a curve, is a level that we've bounced on many times as well and ran. And these are all the things that I look for. So, right now we did get a very good volume spike, and we bounced off the same trend line that we bounce off many times and we usually run pretty hard from. This level is roughly around 650 to 656 or whatever. Well, we got this little bounce here. Now, could this be a reversal? It could. As of right now on the daily, there's bearish divergence on the daily RSI, which can cancel out if we were to continue up. Mainly what we would be looking for here would be some confirmed support back above this $8.10 level. Until then, it's kind of hard to say that we are reversing here. You can see these daily MACD, this 50 EMA is still coming down to cross this 200, which, although we got a nice spike here, we will most likely continue to catch resistance at this 20 EMA on the daily, which is roughly around 793. If we could actually get above here and we could continue to flag out and actually have a break of whatever flagging pattern it gets on top of here, consolidation pattern we get on top of here, if we do, then we could look for a trade of a break of that resistance. But until then, it is still something to, be very cautious of. Because if we do get some type of consolidation above, then yes, we can possibly be looking a little bit bullish here. But until then, we still have room to fall potentially to this curve at 578. And ultimately, that could bring us to some lower support here if we did continue down. This would be an area from 585 to $6 even. Now on the daily here, you can see we're about to get a daily MACD cross as long as we continue up, which is nice. That spike definitely helped cause that. And we did get some good volume, which is a good thing. But remember, these crossing negatives sometimes can push the price down, but in other instances, it can push the price up. I have seen that in the past. Ultimately, we want to get above this 810 and continue to hold. That's what I'm looking at. So this drop here and this drop here roughly fell to the same level of 659 roughly. And if we look at the RSI down here, although we dropped to the same level in the price action, the RSI the first time came all the way down here to a 27 strength, rose back up, and then fell again. Now this time, we fell to a 29 strength. So with that being said, that is hidden bullish divergence confirmed with this bounce. Now the other thing to think about is that if this was a giant descending triangle here, then we slowly went sideways, but during this process, we actually went sideways and potentially, let me just double check my trend line before I come up with this idea. And potentially, I wouldn't really want to draw it any other way. So with that being said, with that sideways action, we managed to get behind or on top of this resistance line. That was a resistance line that shot us down here and shot us down here. So with that, as long as we continue to stay above this 656 and continue to either, number one, we could continue to bounce and ride on top of here. That could ultimately bring us down lower. But if we decide to get a blast out of here and start turning around, well, the breakout target of this potential descending triangle here, basing it off of this lower support, and this isn't going to happen in one day, of course, lines up perfectly with this upper resistance of 1740. So that's something to consider. If we look down at the 4-hour here, we can see that as of right now, we have that bearish divergence. But with the volume and this potential pattern, we don't know for sure if this is going to continue being bullish. We've had the same setup here with this looking like it caught a bottom candle, but this time was with no volume. This time was with a lot of volume. So that could still be a bullish thing. Looking at the hourly here, we are flagging out a little bit underneath this 721 resistance. We have bearish divergence on the 1 hour. That could drop us down, but we could ultimately, and this is just speculation, make a left shoulder, a small head, and maybe create a right shoulder here, and that could look like some sort of small inverse head and shoulders. That could bring us up a little higher. Of course, I'm talking a lot of bullish things, and there's still some bearish things for sure. There's no moving averages really curling up much, and we're not even above the 2-hour 20 EMA yet, or the 50 EMA. But if we can ultimately get above here, that is really what I'm watching for. And looking at the weekly here, we can see how the 20 EMA on the weekly, which is roughly up at $10 right now, will be a very crucial resistance line. And it is rolling as of right now. It is slowly rolling here. So if we did continue to roll and we could not get above wherever this 20 EMA is, that would be very, very bearish. As well as this weekly candle is showing that we tested this resistance and it found a very strong resistance and it dropped since. And all of these flat tops on these weekly candles is showing the areas of old support that we turned into resistance and got rejected from. So that's a very bearish thing. But the weekly takes a long time before bullishness plays out. So the trade here would be confirmation above this $8.10 area. We'd want to see it go sideways here, and with a break of whatever consolidation pattern it would create on top of here. If it can get above there, we would want to look for volume and confirm breaks of that trend line, and then we could put in a long. But until then, we have to expect that this downtrend is continuing down. But I do like the volume so far. I just don't like the moving averages. So that's kind of where I'm sticking to on this. I did have a lot of longs up here, and I was expecting and anticipating a very big break. But unfortunately, with the sentiment of the market and a lot of speculative plays or plays that, aren't insanely established, they're getting hit very hard. And this is definitely one. Could we be looking for a potential long? We could, but we have to play it smart. We have to play it safe. And say we did, lastly, let's say we did get on top of here and we started, creating some kind of bullish consolidation. We still have to keep in mind that this $10 level is going to be extreme resistance, especially because the weekly 20 EMA lies right around that same area. So with that being said, long term, I'm still bullish on this. But short term, we could get a nice bounce here with the expectations of potential rejections up in this $10 range. But only if we can consolidate maybe even a weekly close above this $8 level. 8.10, 8.11, something like that. But other than that, that's where I'm at. Have a good day, guys.